Have you ever walked by someone doing an interesting job and wondered, what does their day look like? Who do they meet throughout the day? What made them want to have that job in the first place? How do they do that exactly? As you can tell, I'm very curious. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to become a journalist in the first place. I love getting to know people, spending time with them, and understanding their experiences. This curiosity sparked a new series we're calling At Work With. Every month, we'll talk to a Pacific Northwesterner who does something cool and ask them your questions about what it's like to do what they do. From the newsroom of OPB, I'm Jen Chavez, and this is The Evergreen, a podcast about the place you call home. Today, we bring you along as we spend time at work with folks in 3 different professions. First up, my colleague Lillian Kerbake takes us to the Hawthorne Bridge in Portland, or should I say, above it.
Have you ever been on your way to work and gotten stopped by this noise? It can be frustrating to be a commuter waiting for a bridge lift, but what is it like on the other side?
Well, hello.
There's always an operator perched above the Hawthorne Bridge, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Hello!
You're David?
Yeah.
I'm Lillian.
Lily, nice to meet you.
The small control room suspended above the Hawthorne Bridge is definitely a room with a view, a riverfront corner office, glass on every side with an eagle-eyed view of the river and downtown Portland. Bridge operations coordinator Aisha Hazul says the vantage point means they're not just tending to the bridge, but the whole city.
We're basically paying attention to the city as a whole. There are fires that happen. Like sometimes I'll see a plume of smoke somewhere and it looks really bad and I'll call the police and say, hey, do you know that there's some sort of major fire over there? So we're basically on the lookout, not just for vessels, but for any activity.
Right now, Hazul is preparing to do a lift of the Hawthorne Bridge.
We're all set. You can start your lift.
It's probably not immediately apparent to most people why the bridge is going up. There's no boat going through. But water vessels are one of the least common reasons the Hawthorne Bridge has to ascend. As the oldest vertical lift bridge still in operation in the United States, the center span has to be lifted every 8 hours to keep the cables greased and the bridge in tip-top operating shape. Today, she's lifting the bridge to bring down 2 electricians who are working on the upper level.
They're going up top to the machinery level, so I'm just watching to see them. I've already spoken to the electricians. They know we're ready to go. I'm going to initiate the procedure. The whole process takes generally about 8 minutes.
A listener asked if people ever try to run the light during a lift, and yes, often.
So here we have a situation. Someone has run the light and there's a pedestrian who doesn't understand where they need to go. So at this point, I need to get on the PA system and tell the pedestrian if they could please go back. Attention, pedestrian. Pedestrian at the northeast corner, can you please take a few feet back behind the white and yellow lines so we can proceed with our procedures? Thank you so much. So, this is the counterweight coming down, and you'll see the electricians are standing in a basket right on top of that.
Hazul grew up in Iraq and the UK and moved to Portland when she was 21. Now, 30 years later, she's had all sorts of jobs. Movie projectionist, bar owner, library worker. But for the past 8 years, she's been one of the people who makes Multnomah County's bridges go up and down.
This suits me in every way. I have the flexibility to sort of move around, not just be in the tower the whole time, which I really love. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm definitely going into retirement with this job.
One question we got from listeners, what kind of education and experience is needed to actually get this job?
I mean, the reality is you cannot do this job if you are afraid of heights.
Other than that hard and fast rule, on-call bridge operator Dave Hanneman, who worked at broadcast television before becoming an operator 3 years ago, says there's no particular requirements other than a clear head.
I don't think we have a single operator who has the same background, and the variety of your experience and your lived experience is much more important. But I think the biggest thing is you just have to be able to stay calm. Because most of the bridge lifts are fine, but every now and then something goes wrong.
Only the Hawthorne Bridge is staffed round the clock by one of 8 full-time operators, usually alone. They're responsible for taking calls from boats and determining if one of the on-call operators needs to open another bridge. based on how much water is running in the river.
They might say, we're a 70-foot boat. They might say, we want this bridge and this bridge and this bridge, but we need to double check. And sometimes they'll say they just need the Hawthorne, and it turns out they actually need the Burnside as well. So we'll let them know, actually, based on the height of your boat, there is this much clearance, and you can't clear the Burnside. So shall we go ahead and get an operator?
Sometimes Hanneman gets as little as 1 hour's notice that he needs to open a bridge.
So every 3 months, each on-caller gets a 2-week rotation where it's 24 hours, 7 days a week, an hour's notice.
Both Hanneman and Hazul say the perks are the connection to the river and to the city.
I don't know if anyone has spent any time in downtown when the sun is rising, but all the crows fill up the trees on the riverfront, and they all fly, I don't know where, but I know southeast.
And even though Hazul says she has a favorite bridge, the Burnside, she just loves feeling like part of the city.
I grew up in 3 different continents, and every place I grew up had a river. And so for me, rivers have become extremely important to me. I mean, you can't help but feel connected to the bridges, connected to the city, to the river, to the people. You know, we're county employees, you know, we work for the people, and it's amazing the joy, you know, that we get from being here.
That was OPB Weekend Edition host Lillian Kerbake from 160 feet above the Willamette River in the Hawthorne Bridge control room. Bridge operation is a pretty unique job, but we found an even rarer profession in this day and age for our next profile. Coming up after a short break, a video store clerk.
Blockbuster Video, wow, what a difference!
In the age of streaming, you may think your days of picking out a few movies and some popcorn at your local video store are gone. But a few iconic video stores are holding strong in the Pacific Northwest, keeping the 90s dream alive for renters young and old. Y'all wanted to know more about working in a movie lover's paradise in this era. So I put on my former video store clerk hat and headed to my old workplace.
Movie madness, video, and more. Movies to die for.
Movie Madness in Portland, to ask them your burning questions. Oh my gosh, it smells like popcorn. I spent the formative years of my 20s working in video stores. And although nearly a decade's gone by since then, I still remember it like it was yesterday. Standing behind the counter near the new releases section with some PG-rated movie playing in the background, calling up eager film fans to set them up for their next movie night. The beepy sounds of DVDs being checked out to rent, returns falling in the drop box, and yes, the smell of popcorn.
And these are going to be due back on Friday by 10 p.m.
Okay, thanks a lot again.
Yeah, thank you.
Sarah Reinhardt has been working at Movie Madness for a couple years. Like lots of us, she fondly remembers her hometown video store.
So I grew up in a small town in Oregon, and we had a Mountain Video, and, you know, I went there multiple times a week, would have like a stack of VHS that I bring home.
Memories of that magic helped draw her into Movie Madness as a customer in the early 2000s, and the selection kept her coming back.
Honestly, it was the horror section. I've always loved horror movies, and it was incredible just to see so many. There's kind of like a ritual with being a customer here. I'd always spend a lot of time browsing. You would come in and like pick things out and curate like an evening.
Now, as a manager at the store, she helps curate evenings for other film-loving locals.
We can personalize a lot of things, and, you know, with the employee pick shelf, we do weekly like curated shelves. We ask local artists or musicians to curate shelves. And I think that really sets it apart from just being like a retail store.
Of course, we had to check out Sarah's employee pick shelf.
Chillers is like it's pretty corny, but it's about these people who are all like stuck in a bus depot, and they're all like telling their personal stories of what happened to them, because maybe they're ghosts. It's unclear.
And I love the Chillers box. It says, "Evil travels in many forms, even by bus." As we perused the horror section, it seemed like the perfect time to ask Sarah something our audience wanted to know. What movie or movies did you discover working here at Movie Madness that you had never heard of or would have never found that are now some of your favorites?
Honestly, like I find a movie that's totally new to me that I love like once a week probably. So there's one over here. It's called The Car, which is just similar to Christine. It's a possessed vehicle.
Yeah.
Love that
I
one.
love the possessed vehicle subgenre of horror, right? Clearly, she'd be a great person to ask for a horror flick recommendation. But no matter the genre, video store clerks have a system for figuring out what movie's right for you.
What really helps is just having a customer come up and just say, like, I really liked this movie. Can you recommend something like that? Or, walking them back to a certain area and having a conversation about, well, do you like this director? Or what type of movies do you like? If someone has this idea of this movie that they know that they saw, but they do not remember the title of it or who's in it or anything, if I have time, I will sit and just help them search to find this movie. And it's so satisfying when we do.
She especially loves sharing new movies she's discovered with the store's regulars. One regular is Richard Marshall, who enjoys international cinema and always comes by on Tuesdays to check out the weekly new arrivals. He loves talking film with the clerks here.
These very nice, smart, thoughtful people, they get me. I get them. And they're probably here because they like film so much. And it's part of my social life. I enjoy just, saying, well, here's what I got today. It's the human connection, the sight, the voice. It's not just going in, punching a bunch of stuff on a screen and ordering something.
Hayden Stockwell and Natalie Pope are in their 20s and grew up going to video stores as kids. They like how the Movie Madness clerks remember them and pay attention to the movies they choose.
I think last Christmas we had a cannibalism marathon on accident. They were the ones to notice it. Like, we didn't mean to do that, but you're right.
They also dig horror and appreciate the gems they find in the store's collection.
With streaming now, you can surf through all these shows and movies, and they're just all kind of bland and meaningless. And if you go here, sure, you'll find a lot of bland, meaningless stuff here too, but there's a lot of interesting things that you wouldn't think of. Just looking at this shelf, it's a lot of funny things going on.
You have to be more mindful of your choices too, because it's not just like, oh, I'll just put this on. It's like, no, I rented this. I have to set the time aside to watch it.
Sarah agrees that there's a certain specialness about video stores that you can't find anywhere else.
If you buy something for streaming, wherever you get it from, like, they still kind of own it in a way. With physical media, it's like, you have an artifact that you're picking up. And, with a lot of videos that we have in our collection, like, a lot of those things are out of print and you can't find them streaming.
One of our listeners asked what it is about the video stores that are still around that's helped them survive in this age of streaming services.
I think here, especially like with the costumes and stuff that we have too, it's just such like an experience to go do. And because I grew up with video stores, to me, it's kind of like a sentimental thing as well. I think it's really different and, gets you out of the house. You get to go do something fun. Like, we have a popcorn machine. You can get popcorn. Like, it's just a whole thing.
It is a whole thing. And it was so fun getting to go back to Movie Madness. Based on all your questions and curiosity about video stores, perhaps they'll continue to exist in the Pacific Northwest for a while. Next, we're going to take you from a movie lover's paradise to a book lover's paradise. Do I have the best job ever or what? Do you ever feel like your to-be-read stack of books at home could fill an entire city? Well, I can definitely relate. And the booksellers at Powell's City of Books in downtown Portland probably understand what we mean. We headed to the world-famous bookstore to talk to a person who spends their workday serving as a literary guide for Pacific Northwest readers. Getting lost isn't usually a good thing, but losing oneself in the labyrinthine stacks of Powell's books is a reader's dream. Personally, exploring the shelves as sun beams in from the street makes me feel a little bit like Belle from Beauty and the Beast.
I can't believe it. I've never seen so many books in all my life.
Powell's is the largest new and used independent bookstore in the world, and its downtown Portland City of Books location is appropriately named as a bookstore that fills an entire city block. It's a sight world travelers come to see. For locals, it's a point of literary pride. For Catherine Morgan, it's work.
I always, I've loved books and I wanted to be a librarian, but I didn't want to go to college for it. So this felt like a good choice.
Catherine's been working at Powell since 2017. Her love of bookstores dates back to her childhood in Chicago.
On special occasions, my mother would give me like $20 and we'd go to Barnes & Noble. And it just felt like almost like an adult experience because when you're younger, like usually like you're adult, your parents pick your books, or you get told what to read. But getting the money to go to Barnes & Noble and like having your adult be like, okay, you can pick out whatever you want was like the holy grail.
Today, Catherine's a devotee of the romance genre. She curates the romance section at Powell's and shares her romance-lit adventures with the masses on her Bookstagram account, Forever a Bookseller.
It's one of those genres where it's like, what's going to happen, and it doesn't matter. The main part of it is like you care more about how the couple gets together. They're going to end up together, so it's fine. But that's the excitement.
One of our listeners wanted to know what the strangest or most unique book request she'd ever gotten was. It wasn't actually a book, but rather an entire subgenre of romance.
The new thing that's become popular is monster smut. And so I get a lot of like questions about that, where it's like, someone's like, do you have this one book that has aliens in it? Or like, we had one that actually sold out really fast, where it was called like Hot Tyrannosaurus Rex. It's just like dinosaur smut.
I, for one, learned about a new corner of the genre I did not know existed. Catherine firmly believes that there's a romance book out there for everyone. And as someone who's helping elevate the genre to new readers, that's something she thinks about a lot.
The genre has definitely made better strides on being, more diverse, whether that's race or, like disability or things like that. It's important to elevate, characters who look like me. Like, I'm a fat black woman, and, I'm proud of that. If I can help someone find a book that, like, showcases the fact that, like, they themselves are worthy of love or worthy of affection in whatever way, like, that is a really, like, beautiful thing to me.
The Evergreen producer, Mia Estrada, asked Catherine to recommend an engaging romance book.
So I love to read, but I frequently fall into a reading rut. Like, I'll go months without reading. Do you recommend a romance book that will hook me right away and just keep me wanting more?
Ooh, okay. Always a good question.
One book would not suffice, though. Instead, Catherine walked us through the entire romance section from A to Z, pointing out at least a dozen titles.
My favorite of, 2023 was The Fiancé Farce. This one was so cute. It's called Digging Up Love. If you like plus-size romances, Olivia Dade is really popular. I would say this book, The New Adult, made me cry. And then, of course, Allie Hazelwood, if you want a good sciencey, STEM-based romance.
Interactions like this make Catherine's day.
I've had customers who, they haven't been able to find a book on a shelf, and I'll walk over and find it. And, one of them was like, can I hug you? Because I've been looking for this book for so long. And I was like, yeah! And then, we hugged.
One of our listeners wanted to know more about the marquee outside the downtown store that announces upcoming author events to the city. They're an Uber driver who said they love to show visitors the Powell's marquee and point out that in this city, we treat our literary artists like rock stars. Catherine agrees with that.
As a writer myself, I can't wait for the day where I'm on the marquee, just because I will definitely be that author who's just, pointing, yeah, that's me. There's just something about seeing that name and seeing those lights and, driving by and, knowing when your favorite author's coming in. It's just it's wonderful.
Another listener wanted to know about Catherine's reading habits. Of course, booksellers at the bustling store don't spend their workdays reading books. But how many books does she typically read in a month or a year?
I try to read about 50 a year. I usually, depending on the month, try to read about 4. The most I've ever read, I think, was 70, which is a great year.
And one of you wanted to know more about a well-loved aspect of a different Powell's location in Portland, the now-closed Powell's Technical Books, specifically about the store's former cat-in-residence, Fup. Since Fup was before Catherine's time at Powell's, store manager Bree Hogue helped answer this question, at least she said according to Powell's lore.
Fup was a alley cat who lived near the store. The staff wanted to adopt her and bring her into the store, and the manager said, absolutely not. Went on vacation, came back, the cat was in the store living there.
She even had a blog on the website for years written by an employee. She could be cranky with humans, but she was beloved nonetheless until she died at the age of 19. Although it wouldn't be safe for a cat to live at Powell's downtown bookstore these days, Fup lives on at the store. Her ashes are kept in the rare books room on Powell's 3rd floor.
There's a cute little photo of her right up there, and she even has a little business card. And this is actually the book that she was named after, so that's the Fup book as well. So they really honored her in a lovely way.
As it turns out, Fup the cat's ashes are not the only ones kept at Powell's. Bree says there are the ashes of 3 people in the store, too, like a young woman who loved Powell's dearly, whose ashes are kept in the YA section. It's not so hard to understand why someone who loves reading and loves their favorite bookstore would want to be remembered there in that way. Catherine Morgan gets it, too.
If I die, or when I die, I want to be in an urn in the romance section. They'll be like Catherine Morgan's romance section right here. And I can just watch people fall in love, and I'm like, yay!
That would be the best ever.
We'll drop links to all of our interviews in the At Work With series in our show notes. Please let us know who you want to hear from next. We really want to hear from you. You can also send us questions you have for our next At Work With interview. We're going to be finding out what it's like to be a poet from Oregon's Poet Laureate, Anis Mojgani. Email us at theevergreen@opb.org or visit our website, opb.org/theevergreen. By the way, you can find all this info in our show notes. If you're here listening right now, you are a part of our brand new podcast family. Help us grow by leaving a review on your favorite podcast app, including YouTube. Follow us there and hey, tell your friends. Mia Estrada produced this episode and our technical director is Stephen Cray. He also engineered the episode. The OPB podcast team also includes Julie Sabatier and Sage Van Wing. Lillian Kerbake and yours truly did the interviews you heard. The music in this episode is from Audio Network. I'm Jen Chavez. Catch you later.